Alright, what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick Strength and Power. I've got a couple of interesting stories for you guys today. The first story that I've got for you guys today, we got a couple different updates from Brandon Curry today, or of Brandon Curry, I should say. So the first update was posted by Terrence Ruffin. So this was an interesting collab, him and Brandon posing together. Obviously, Terrence being top 2 in the world at one point in classic physique, and Brandon being a former Open Mr. Olympia. Now, in the caption of this post, he says that this was taken about 2 weeks ago. So it would put Brandon at about 6.5 weeks out from the Olympia at the point that these pictures were taken. Now, obviously, the most noticeable thing in these updates is just the sheer size difference between Terrence and Brandon. Brandon's probably closer to 240-ish, and Terrence is probably closer to 180-ish, 190 in these updates. So there's probably at least a 50-pound difference between the two. I think they're similar in height. Terrence is a little bit shorter than Brandon. But I think this also shows what people like so much about classic physique. Obviously, there's a lot of differences between classic and open bodybuilding, but I think it's that classic physique is so much more relatable to the average gym goer, the average meathead. Terrence being a guy that weighs under 200 pounds, being one of the best classic physique athletes in the world, his physique, I think, is a lot more relatable to the average bodybuilder. And you look at Brandon, and Brandon's by not the biggest guy in open bodybuilding for sure, but Brandon's physique much more unrelatable to the average gym goer. But Brandon does look good here, but honestly, my first thought about Brandon, aside from the size difference, was I would like to see him tighter. I thought he would be a little bit more detailed, a little bit crisper at the 6-week out mark. Again, this isn't from this week, it's from 2 weeks ago, but I still thought he'd be a little bit crisper based on some of the updates that we've seen from some of the other guys. Hadi Chupin, for example, Derek Lunsford, for example. I feel like just those two guys alone looked tighter than this, I think, more than 2 weeks ago. And granted, that's what Hadi is kind of known for, is his crazy conditioning. But we did get another brief video update from Brandon's coach, Abdullah. Now again, Abdullah never really specifies in these posts when these updates are from. We can assume that it might be from this week, so it might be closer to the Olympia than the pictures with Terrence. And I also think Brandon does look tighter in this video than he looked in the picture with Terrence, particularly in the lower body. I feel like there's a lot more detail and separation in his legs, especially from the front and the sides, than you could see in those pictures with Terrence. So in this video, I would assume it is from this week and not from 2 weeks prior. But again, it's kind of hard to tell with Abdullah. He never really says, and you're just kind of left to assume that it was recent. But again, Brandon is a guy that a lot of people have counted out from their predictions. Not a lot of people have him in the conversation for the top 3. But now that Rami is out, it is worth pointing out that Brandon and Hadi are the only 2 Mr. Olympia winners, at least in open, Derek won in 212, that are going to be in that Olympia lineup this year. So he's got to be in the conversation a little bit. But I think, again, as that top 10 lineup starts to change a little bit over the years since Brandon won, a lot of these guys are guys that Brandon hasn't beaten yet. And some of these guys that Brandon has already beaten are guys that have improved a lot since the last time Brandon beat them. For example, Samson Dauda, who we're going to talk about next year. So a lot of people are talking about this update from Samson, and I can see why. It's a very impressive update of his legs. A lot of people just talking about how crazy round and full from the side they are, especially I saw people comparing them to how they looked at the Arnold Classic. Just the sheer size and the way that his hamstrings just hang off the leg like that. A lot of people are really seriously talking about Samson as being the potential next Mr. Olympia, and I can see why they're having that conversation. And it's interesting to me because if you guys remember after the Arnold Classic, there's a lot of conversation about it being controversial that Samson beat Nick Walker. But now it seems like from what I've seen, people are starting to really rally behind Samson as being the next big thing. You've seen all these crazy transformation pictures that he's posted in just like 2 years' time. The amount of quality size that he's added to his physique and the amount of wins and really good placings that he's been starting to rack up. I mean, that Arnold Classic win, I think, was a really, really big deal for his career. And that was a show a couple years ago, nobody would be talking about Samson as potentially winning that show. Same for the Olympia. A couple years ago, I don't think anybody was talking about Samson as being the next Mr. Olympia, but now here he is looking incredible. And not only are his legs big in this picture, a lot of detail, a lot of deep cuts, a lot of deep separation. And I would have to agree with some of the comments. I think this is one of the more impressive updates that we've seen from a lot of these potential first call-out guys going into the Olympia. I would say I would compare this leg shot with some of Derek's back shots. You see these updates of Derek and how crazy his back looks. I think this picture of Samson's leg is a similar effect. This is pretty impressive. But again, you always have to take everything on Instagram with a little bit of a grain of salt. We got to wait and see how this actually looks on stage. This is like perfect lighting, probably the perfect angle, and it's in a mirror. Sometimes mirrors can, stretch and emphasize certain body parts better depending on the mirror. So we'll see. But Samson is certainly making a very good case for himself being one of the contenders this year at the Olympia as a potential top 3 guy. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Where do you think Samson Dauda is going to place at the 2023 Mr. Olympia? Now, next up in the news, let's talk about Nick Walker. Nick Walker just posted this update. This is about 4.5 weeks out. His caption says apparently not pleasing to the eye. I don't know what that's a reference to. But Nick's goal for this Olympia since the Arnold Classic has been to bring a fuller package to the stage and also improve his lower body, because a lot of people were pointing that out at the Arnold Classic. And I think he's done that. His quads in this picture look like they're bigger. They look like they're a little bit deeper separated. But I think that's why people are so impressed by Samson's update, because of how crazy big and the deep separation that he had in his legs. Just, you don't see that same effect. Well, granted, this is a front shot from Nick. But he posted this side chest a week ago almost, and you can see his legs from the side profile. And that's why people are so impressed by Samson's update, because his legs they don't even look real. They look insane. But going back to Nick's recent update from the front, nothing super surprising here. This is about what we can typically expect from Nick. He looks very good, very consistent, big, freaky, full. Looks like he's bringing the conditioning. His midsection still doesn't look like it's an issue. But this is one of the matchups that I'm most excited to see at the Olympia, is the Nick versus Samson rematch from the Arnold at the Olympia. I think it's going to be interesting because Samson looks like he's made some pretty tremendous improvements, and he beat Nick the last time they went around. And if he's improved from that significantly, Nick's going to have his hands full trying to push Samson out of that top 3, and that's kind of why I think Samson is a real contender for a top 3 spot, because I have a hard time making an argument against him being in there. But actually, this is what I want to know. In the comments below, out of the 3 guys that we just talked about, Brandon, Samson, and Nick, who do you guys think? Give me the order in which you think they're going to place. Who's going to place the highest, who's going to be in the middle, and who's going to place the worst out of those 3. Now, next up in the news, we got a physique update today from Breon Ainsley. As you guys know, Breon made the announcement that he's going to be staying in the classic physique division after last year saying he was moving to 212. This comes after the decision by the IFBB to increase the classic physique weight limits, giving Breon an advantage being a shorter guy, and it's something that he said that he struggled with in the past in classic physique, is making weight at the last minute, something that he felt was making his physique suffer. And honestly, Breon looks really good in these updates, so I'm wondering if he can make a case for himself getting back into the top 3 this year. I'm kind of leaning, I really am leaning against that, because I feel like Urs Kausinski, Ramon Dino, Chris Bumstead, Urs and Ramon specifically have been improving so rapidly. Chris Bumstead, I don't think he's going anywhere this year. I think he's going to win again. Terrence Ruffin also has this advantage with a weight increase. Breon is really going to have his hands full. I don't see him winning the title again, but he is looking really good. I think he's going to be a first call-out guy again. I see him more maybe in the 4th place spot this year, but let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Where do you think Breon will place? And the final story that I have for you guys today, just a few days out of the Legion Sports Festival, Charles Griffen posting another physique update today. Looking absolutely insane. Side profile looks nuts. Conditioned, grainy, hard, big, full. He's my pick to win the Legion Sports Festival. I think of all the updates that we've seen from the guys competing, he's the guy that's really impressed me the most. So he's going to be, I really think he's going to be the winner of this show. He just looks crazy in these updates, and I'm really, really impressed with what we've seen from him so far. His side tricep, he's posted a couple different side triceps during this prep, and it looks pretty crazy. Really great shot for him, really strong pose, really great side profile, but also from the front he looks really good. Vacuum pose in the front double bicep, great back, thick and dense, heavy training. I think he's going to do really well here, and I think he's going to bring a very, very impressive package and get this last-minute Olympia qualification. But that's going to wrap it up for the video, guys. I hope you did, in fact, enjoy it. Let me know your Legion Sports Festival predictions in the comments down below. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, click that bell notification icon, all that good stuff. And as always, I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Nick Strength and Power signing out. All right, guys, don't forget to click that like button and subscribe to this channel if you enjoy the content. Also, check out my Instagram at NICKS&P. my Facebook page, which is simply Nick Strength and Power, my secondary YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Vlogs, for vlogs and bonus content that you will not see on this channel, and consider subscribing to my third YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Pokemon, which is all things Pokemon and trading card games, completely unrelated to this channel. So if you're into that, give that one a look. And all links to merchandise and social media will be in the description box below. If you guys want a Nick Strength and Power t-shirt, that will be in the Shopify link below. Have a great day.